Hey friends, welcome to our cozy English learning series. This story is called Don't Carry Yesterday. It's perfect for English learners from all over the world. The language is simple, the story is emotional, and the message is meaningful. So grab a warm drink, get comfy, and let's begin chapter 1 together. It was early morning in the quiet town of Willow Bend. The sun was just rising behind the tall pine trees. Birds chirped softly, and the smell of fresh bread came from the little bakery near the square. A girl named Elia walked slowly down the street, her old brown bag hanging heavily on her shoulder. She was only 17, but today she looked older tired. Her eyes were dark under the weight of little sleep. Her steps were slow, and her shoulders slouched forward. The bag on her back wasn't very big, but it felt heavy, not with books or clothes. No, it was full of something else. Memories. Elia kept things she couldn't let go of. A red ribbon, from the day her best friend moved away. A picture of her father before he left. A note from a teacher who once said she wouldn't become anything. She had folded each one carefully, tucked them into her bag, and carried them every day. She believed she had to. She passed the park and sat on the same wooden bench she always did. The wood was chipped, and the paint was peeling, but she liked it. It was quiet there. A soft breeze played with her hair as she opened her bag and looked inside. All the pieces of her past were still there. Elia pulled out the ribbon and held it between her fingers. She remembered the way she had cried when Mia left. She remembered promising not to forget her, and carrying the ribbon was her way of keeping that promise. But now, something inside her felt tired. Not just her body, her heart. She wondered, what if I let it go? Just a little? As she sat thinking, an old woman slowly approached. She wore a knitted blue shawl and held a basket full of warm scones. Her eyes were kind. "You look like you're carrying something heavy," the woman said gently. Elia smiled politely. "Just my bag." The woman nodded, sitting beside her. "Sometimes the heaviest bags don't hold anything you can touch." Elia looked down. Her hands gripped the ribbon tightly. The woman didn't ask questions. She just took a scone from the basket and handed it to Elia. "Here. Sometimes warm food helps warm memories too." Elia smiled again, this time more softly. "Thank you." They sat in silence for a while, watching the morning light spill over the trees. Elia didn't know who the woman was, but something about her made it feel okay to sit and not speak. After a few minutes, Elia whispered, "How do you stop carrying something that already lives inside you?" The woman looked at her gently. "You don't have to throw it all away. Just don't let it be the only thing in your bag." Elia looked back into her bag. Maybe it was time to make space for something new, for something lighter. She didn't know how yet, but maybe tomorrow she would try. The next morning, Elia woke up before her alarm. Light spilled softly into her small bedroom, painting golden lines across the wooden floor. She sat up slowly and looked at her brown bag, resting in the corner near her desk. It looked like it always did, old, soft, familiar. But today, she saw it a little differently. She remembered the woman with the basket of scones. "You don't have to throw it all away. Just don't let it be the only thing in your bag." The woman's words had stayed with her, echoing like a quiet song inside her mind. Elia stood up, picked up the bag, and placed it on her bed. She opened it slowly. The same memories were inside. The ribbon, the photo, the note. She touched each one gently. They still made her heart feel heavy, but not as heavy as before. Maybe, she thought, it's time to make room for something lighter. She took a deep breath and walked to her desk. She pulled open the top drawer and looked inside. It was mostly empty, just some pens and a small sketchbook she hadn't touched in months. She picked it up and flipped through the pages. Most of them were blank, but on the first one, there was a drawing of a bird. She had drawn it one afternoon when she still felt like creating things. She smiled. Elia tore the page carefully from the sketchbook and folded it once. Then she placed it inside her bag, right next to the old memories. This new paper didn't carry sadness. It carried hope. After breakfast, Elia walked back to the park. She found the same bench, though the old woman wasn't there. Still, the sun warmed the seat, and the breeze danced with the leaves. Elia sat down and pulled out the drawing of the bird. She looked at it again, then began to draw another one this time. A bird flying. While she drew, a boy about her age passed by with a small dog on a red leash. The dog barked once, then trotted over to Elia, wagging its tail. She laughed softly. "Sorry about that," the boy said, jogging over. "He's very friendly." Elia smiled. "It's okay. I needed a smile." The boy knelt down to pick up the leash. "I'm Kai. This is Button." "Button?" Elia looked at the dog, who barked again as if to say hello. Kai laughed. "He's small but full of energy." Elia reached out to pet Button. "I'm Elia." Kai sat down at the edge of the bench. "Nice to meet you, Elia. Are you an artist?" She looked at her drawing. "Not really. I used to be. I'm trying again." "That's something," Kai said. "Trying counts." They sat quietly for a few minutes. Button chased a leaf that blew past. "Sometimes," Elia said, "it feels like I'm carrying too much." Kai nodded. "Yeah, I know that feeling." Elia looked at him, surprised. "You?" He shrugged. "I lost my sister last year. I used to carry that pain everywhere. Still do sometimes. But Button helps. And drawing. And sitting in the sun." Elia felt a strange comfort in his words. She wasn't the only one trying to breathe again. "I'm learning to make space," she said. "That's brave," Kai replied. "It's not easy." She smiled softly. "No, but today feels lighter." And it did. Not because the old things were gone, but because she had added something new. A drawing, a dog named Button, and a boy who understood. The days grew warmer in Willow Bend. Trees were full with green leaves, and soft yellow flowers lined the sidewalks. People walked a little slower now, enjoying the sun, the breeze, and the feeling that maybe, just maybe, life was moving in a gentler direction. Elia walked to the park again, but this time, her bag felt different. It still held her old things, the red ribbon, the photo, the notebook now. It also carried the drawing of the flying bird, a small pencil, and a folded paper Button had stepped on, leaving a tiny paw print. She had not thrown away her past. She had simply stopped letting it be the only thing that defined her. Kai was waiting on the bench, tossing a small stick for Button to chase. He waved when he saw her. Elia waved back and sat beside him. "Button's been excited all morning," Kai said. "He knows when you're coming." Elia laughed, watching the little dog bark and chase the stick again. "I think I've started looking forward to this too." They didn't talk much at first. They didn't need to. The silence was easy, like sunlight through trees. After a while, Elia opened her bag and took out her sketchbook. She turned to a new page. "What are you drawing today?" Kai asked. "A window," she said softly. "Open, with the wind blowing in." Kai smiled. "I like that." Elia drew slowly. Her lines weren't perfect, but that didn't matter anymore. The window was wide. There was light coming through it, and on the windowsill sat a small bird, ready to fly. When she finished, she showed Kai the drawing. "It's beautiful," he said. "It's how I feel now," Elia whispered. "Not completely free yet, but almost ready." Kai nodded. "You've come far." Elia looked at her bag, then at the sketchbook in her hands. "I used to think I had to carry all the pain so I wouldn't forget," she said. "But maybe remembering isn't the same as reliving." He looked at her gently. "You're right. We remember to honor where we came from, not to hurt again." She reached into her bag and took out the note from her old teacher. Slowly, she tore it in half. Then again, and again. The wind caught one of the pieces and carried it away. "That one," she said, "doesn't get to stay." Kai didn't say anything. He just smiled. They sat there until the sky turned pink. When Elia stood to leave, her bag felt lighter inside and out. As she walked home, the air felt different. Not because anything big had changed, but because she had. If you enjoyed this cozy story, please give it a like. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss our next heartwarming English tale.